The oracles warned them. Not in riddles, not in whispers, clear as day, humans bend fate itself. The problem wasn't the prophecy. The problem was, no one took prophecy seriously, until the day Earth smiled back. The oracles warned them. Not in whispers, not in riddles, clear as a star's flare, humans bend fate itself. The trouble wasn't the prophecy. The trouble was, no one ever took prophecy seriously, until Earth smiled back. The Grand Council chamber was a cathedral of power, vaulted ceilings of crystalline alloy, banners of empires older than human history, voices echoing like thunder across marble floors carved from moons. Every major civilization had sent their brightest, their proudest, their most arrogant. And right now, they were laughing. A hulking reptilian delegate slammed his scaled fist against the table, wheezing with amusement. Bend fate itself? They can't even bend their own climate without breaking it. What is an earthling compared to a star-forged people? A trio of insectoid envoys clattered mandibles in approval. We've watched their broadcasts. Half of their species still argue if pineapple belongs on food. Fate benders? Please. The hall erupted. Derision rolled like a storm. Only one voice refused to join. An elder, translucent-skinned and frail, raised a trembling claw. The oracles spoke truth. You mock what you should fear. His gaze swept the chamber, and silence threatened to follow, until a booming laugh shattered it. The laughter belonged to none other than the delegate of the Zorath Dominion. Fear them? We crush stars for fuel. They burn trees for heat. I say let the humans join our council, if only for entertainment. That was when the doors opened. The human envoy stepped in with the disarming calm of a man arriving late to a dinner party. No gleaming armor, no retinue of guards, just a crisp navy suit, shoes that clicked softly on marble, and a steaming cup of coffee in his hand. Sorry about the delay, he said cheerfully, voice carrying with practiced ease. Traffic in orbit. You know how it is when every species insists on docking first. He slid into his seat as though he belonged at the table. 100 alien eyes, compound, luminous, multifaceted, followed him. Some with curiosity, some with hunger, more with disdain. The elder who had spoken earlier lowered his head, muttering, "The thread tightens." The humans smiled politely at him, then turned to the assembly. Now, I heard there was some discussion about prophecy? He sipped his coffee, winced slightly. Too hot. Figures. The insectoid envoy leaned forward, antennae twitching. Yes, little human. The oracles claimed your species. Ben's fate. A fine bedtime tale. The human set his cup down. His name was Marcus Kane, ambassador, negotiator, tactician. His eyes crinkled as though he were in on a joke no one else understood. Bedtime tales are valuable. Keeps the monsters away, or at least teaches you how to survive them. A ripple of irritation passed through the chamber. One of the reptilians hissed, tail lashing. You claim to be monsters? Marcus tilted his head. Monsters? No. Survivors, certainly. Difference is, monsters act without reason. Survivors act because reason leaves no choice. He offered a faint shrug. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The insectoid envoy clicked. So you admit it is nonsense. Fate is not yours to command. Marcus stirred his coffee. Funny thing about fate, it's usually written by the winners. Ever notice that? The chamber bristled. The Zorath delegate leaned forward, sharp teeth glinting. Your kind has no fleets worth mentioning. No dominion. No empire. What makes you think you stand equal here? Marcus looked at him the way a teacher regards an overeager student. You're right. We don't have an empire. We don't enslave. We don't conquer. We improvise. Makes us difficult to predict. He leaned back casually. Which, I suppose, might look like bending fate if you're on the wrong end of it. A silence settled, not agreement, not belief, but unease. The elder with translucent skin spoke again, this time louder. I warned you all. Threads twist around them. Even their words tangle your certainties. But the others drowned him out. One aquatic envoy rippled his fins with disdain. Humans rely on luck. Nothing more. Marcus chuckled softly. Luck? That's a sweet way of saying you didn't see it coming. The chamber erupted again, this time with argument instead of laughter. Some mocked, some sneered, others whispered uneasily. Fate benders? Impossible. Yet something in the human's demeanor, smiling, relaxed, sipping bitter liquid while sitting among predators, made them wary. The council chair slammed a staff to silence the chamber. Enough. Earth has been granted provisional attendance. Nothing more. Their oracles speak of fate? Then let fate test them in the void. Marcus raised his cup in a small toast. To fate, then. After adjournment, a cluster of delegates lingered, whispering. The insectoid hissed to the reptilian, "Did you see it?" He wasn't afraid. The reptilian sneered. Let him bluff. Next session, we'll crush his words with steel. The elder drifted past them, voice hollow. You cannot crush what waits for you beyond your sight. Marcus, overhearing, smiled faintly. Well said. He tapped his cup against the elder's staff. Most people don't appreciate a good warning until it's too late. The elder's cloudy eyes met his. You play with threads, human. Marcus's grin sharpened. Play? No. We weave. Later, aboard the modest human vessel docked outside the council station, Marcus set down his cup, now empty. His aide, a younger officer in uniform, frowned. Sir, do you think they bought it? Marcus gazed out the viewport, where alien dreadnoughts glimmered like predators circling prey. His reflection smiled back at him, calm and unreadable. They laughed at the prophecy, he said softly. Good. Let them keep laughing. He folded his hands behind his back. That way, they'll never see the trap coming. The void between stars was silent, until the Coalition fleet arrived. 200 warships slid from hyperspace, bristling with weapons. Their formation glittered like a steel net cast across the dark. Engines thrummed, hulls gleamed with banners of empires, and communications flooded the channels in a chorus of arrogance. In the center of that storm, one ship floated alone. The ISS Peregrine. Human design, functional, small, and to the Coalition's eyes, pitiful. On the bridge, Marcus Kane sipped from a fresh mug. His uniform jacket hung open, his posture unbothered, as though a fleet capable of erasing his vessel wasn't looming outside. His young helmsman broke the silence. Sir, their numbers are overwhelming. Marcus swirled his coffee. So's a Vegas buffet. Doesn't mean you can eat everything. The helmsman blinked. Vegas. Marcus smirked. Never mind. Just keep us steady. The trick is looking like you don't care, even when they're ready to gut you. The alien hail came through, voice sharp and venomous. Human vessel. Power down. You trespass in Coalition space. This is your only chance. Marcus leaned toward the calm, Coalition space? Funny. Last I checked, the border map's got more scribbles than a toddler's coloring book. The alien commander snarled, mandibles clacking. Do not mock us. You are surrounded. Marcus smiled faintly. That's convenient. Saves us the trouble of chasing you down. The channel cut with a hiss. Across the fleet, alien officers debated. Some demanded immediate destruction. Others argued for capture. Humans were still curiosities, not threats. Arrogance won the vote. The flagship's weapons locked on. Inside the Peregrine, warning lights blinked. The helmsman's voice cracked. Sir, they're targeting us. Marcus set his mug on the console. Good. Let's roll the dice. He tapped a control. The ship shifted just as the first volley blazed across the void. Beams meant to tear the Peregrine apart streaked past harmlessly. Not because of shields, there were none strong enough, but because the human ship drifted into the tiniest gravitational eddy like a leaf caught on a breeze. The alien crews froze. To them, it looked impossible. Marcus chuckled. 1 point for physics, 0 for arrogance. The coalition adjusted and fired again. Missiles streaked forward. The Peregrine rotated lazily, almost clumsy, and 2 warheads clipped each other mid-flight, detonating in a dazzling burst that rocked the alien formation. Alien comms exploded with confusion. Check targeting. That's impossible. Our systems are flawless. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Ever heard of bowling? No. You just knock down the right pin, and the rest take care of themselves. The helmsman swallowed. Sir, was that luck? Marcus's grin sharpened. Luck is just what you call skill you don't understand. The alien flagship regrouped. Its commander bellowed across the channel, voice seething. Tricks. That's all you are. 1 ship cannot outfight a fleet. Marcus answered smoothly. Then you'd better hope this isn't a fight. Before the commander could retort, the Peregrine released a pulse. It wasn't a weapon, at least, not in the conventional sense. It was a scramble burst, carefully timed to the coalition's own comm relays. The result was chaos. Commands twisted, signals overlapped, targeting systems blinked out. Half the fleet thought the flagship had ordered retreat. The other half thought it demanded full bombardment. Ships shifted in conflicting directions, colliding in the confusion. On the Peregrine, Marcus watched it unfold like a conductor admiring his orchestra. Beautiful. They built their fleet like a tower of cards. All I did was flick the bottom. The helmsman whispered, half in awe, half in fear. It looks like fate's on our side. Marcus tapped his mug. Fate's got nothing to do with it. We just know where the cracks are. The coalition flagship steadied. Its commander, red-eyed with fury, forced his forces back into order. Enough. End this now. The fleet's guns lit the void. Marcus finally straightened, voice low. All right. Let's remind them. The Peregrine moved, not like a warship, but like something alive. Calculated dives, sudden shifts, reckless maneuvers that no computer would ever authorize. The ship skimmed energy beams, twisted through missile clouds, and used the enemy's own crossfire against them. Alien crews screamed across comms as their weapons tore into Allied hulls. 1 cruiser split apart, another spun helplessly into the gravitational pull of a nearby moon. To the watching fleets, it didn't look like human tactics. It looked like the universe itself had betrayed them. Marcus's calm voice cut through the storm. Funny thing about dice. We don't need every roll to win. Just the right ones. The aliens faltered. Confidence bled into panic. On the coalition flagship, the commander clawed at his console. How? How can they do this? One of his officers whispered, voice trembling. The oracles, they said. Silence, the commander roared. Yet the words hung heavy. Back on the Peregrine, Marcus sipped his coffee. All right, that's enough showing off. Time to send a message. He keyed the comm to the flagship. His voice was polite, almost casual. Commander, I'd hate for anyone to think humans are hostile. So here's a gesture of goodwill. The Peregrine fired once. Not a beam, not a missile, just a precision EMP round. It streaked across the void and struck the coalition flagship squarely on its shield array. Lights flickered, weapons shut down, engines coughed. The most powerful ship in the fleet hung dead in space. Marcus's tone never shifted from cordial. Don't worry. We didn't break anything. Just pressed pause. The silence that followed was worse than any explosion. Hundreds of ships, bristling with power, suddenly felt powerless before a vessel that by every metric should have been prey. The elder back in the council chamber had been right. It didn't look like combat. It looked like fate itself bent around the humans. The coalition fleet broke first. Engines flared as warships pulled back, discipline dissolving into retreat. No one wanted to be the next accident. On the bridge of the Peregrine, the helmsman stared in stunned silence. We just beat them. With one ship. Marcus drained the last of his mug. Correction. We didn't beat them. They beat themselves. We just encouraged it. He set the mug down with a soft clink, eyes cold now, stripped of humor. Let them think it was fate. Easier than explaining the truth. The helmsman hesitated. And the truth, sir? Marcus smiled thinly. The truth is, fate bends. But only because we're the ones pushing. News traveled faster than ships. By the next cycle, every network across the galaxy broadcast the same shocking footage. 200 coalition warships in disarray, colliding, misfiring, fleeing, while a lone human vessel drifted calm in the chaos, untouched. The anchors tried for neutrality, but disbelief leaked through. One ship, they whispered. One ship forced retreat. In the council chamber, arguments flared hotter than plasma fire. They used forbidden technology, shouted the insectoid envoy, antennae twitching violently. No ship could do this without sorcery. The aquatic delegate rippled his fins in disdain. Sorcery? Don't reduce science to superstition. The reptilian slammed the table. Then explain it. Explain how a fragile mammal humiliated us all. The elder, silent until now, lifted his pale eyes. The oracles explained long ago. You mocked them. A hush followed. No one dared echo agreement, but unease slithered through the chamber. On the ISS Peregrine, Marcus watched the debates unfold on a flickering holoscreen. His aide, Lieutenant Harper, shifted uneasily beside him. They're terrified, Harper said. Half of them want us destroyed, the other half wants us studied. Marcus leaned back, steepling his fingers. Good. Fear clouds judgment. Confusion buys time. Let them argue while we work. Harper frowned. Work on what, sir? Marcus's eyes gleamed. Setting the board. Across the galaxy, paranoia bloomed. Some empires deployed fleets along their borders, convinced humans would invade. Others launched covert probes toward Earth, desperate for secrets. Whispers filled every channel. Were humans hiding advanced tech? Were they manipulating probability itself? In one tavern on a fringe world, 2 alien freighter pilots argued over mugs of steaming drink. I tell you it was rigged, one insisted. The humans planted saboteurs in the coalition fleet. His companion shook his head. I've flown near their ships. They don't look dangerous. They look ordinary. That's what scares me, the first muttered. The coalition, humiliated, convened a war council. The commander whose flagship had been disabled stood, scales dull with shame. We underestimated them. Never again. A strategist hissed, one ship, one victory. Anecdote, not evidence. But another slammed a claw down. Anecdotes don't cripple flagships. Their solution was simple. Gather every fleet within range, crush Earth before the illusion spread further. Marcus received the intel with a wry smile. They're gathering everyone in one place. Perfect. Harper blinked. Perfect. Sir, they're planning annihilation. Marcus tapped a star chart, tracing lines with deliberate precision. And they're handing us every fleet, every supply line, every vulnerability. In chess, you don't fear the opponent's queen if you already know where it'll fall. Harper exhaled. You planned for this. Marcus's voice softened, almost amused. Planned? Harper, this was always the plan. At the next council session, the tension was palpable. Delegates avoided looking directly at Marcus, as though eye contact might give him leverage. The Zorith Dominion's envoy finally snapped. What are you, human? Tricksters? Sorcerers? What game are you playing? Marcus folded his hands politely. Game? No game. We just happen to be very good at not dying. History makes you learn fast. The insectoid envoy hissed. You bend fate. Marcus's smile held, but his voice sharpened. No. We bend people. Fate just follows. The words rippled through the chamber like a cold wind. Back aboard the Peregrine, Harper confronted him. "Sir, why taunt them? They're already terrified." Marcus stared at the stars. "Because fear alone isn't enough. They need to believe we're inevitable. That no matter how hard they push, the universe will tilt back at them. That way, when the final move comes, they'll already be broken." Harper hesitated. Final move. Marcus's reflection on the viewport smiled faintly. "The trap, Lieutenant. And it's almost ready." Galaxy-wide propaganda escalated. Coalition broadcasts mocked the humans as gamblers clinging to luck, calling their victory a fluke. But footage of burning ships told a different story, and the public wasn't buying the narrative. In underground forums, slogans spread. "Fate bends to Earth." "One ship stopped 200. The oracles were right." Some alien civilians even began cheering for humanity, rooting for the underdog who toppled giants. The elites panicked. At a clandestine meeting, 3 species conspired. "We must unite," one hissed. "If they can bend fate, then together we must break it." Another shook his head. "You don't break fate. You hide from it." The third, a younger race flush with pride, sneered. "Oracles be damned. They bleed like any of us. We'll make the humans an example." Unseen, their words traveled straight back to Marcus through channels he'd seeded weeks ago. He listened, calm as ever. "And the flies walk into the web," he murmured. The mask slipped further each day. In private, Marcus shed his easy jokes, speaking in the cold precision of a strategist. His crew noticed. The ambassador's grin never reached his eyes anymore. Behind the smile lurked something calculating, dangerous. Yet in public sessions, he returned to his casual, disarming tone, refusing to give enemies the satisfaction of rage. At one point, an alien snapped, "Why do you always smile, human?" Marcus answered smoothly, "Because nothing unsettles predators more than prey that isn't afraid." As rumors swirled, the elder who had once warned the council drifted through dim corridors, muttering to himself. A younger alien confronted him. "Old One, why do you defend them? Why fear a primitive species?" The elder's eyes glowed faintly. "Because I have seen the threads. The humans do not walk paths. They weave them. And soon, all of us will find ourselves tangled." That night aboard the Peregrine, Harper asked the question directly. "Sir, what is the trap?" Marcus stood before the star chart, lights painting constellations across his face. "Every empire in the galaxy is converging. Proud, arrogant, desperate to erase the embarrassment. They think they're gathering to kill us." He touched a single system on the map. "But in truth, they're gathering exactly where we want them." Harper's throat tightened. "Why there?" Marcus's voice dropped into steel. "Because that's where we end them." The stage was set. Empires mobilized. Fleets burned across the stars, carrying the weight of history, pride, and vengeance. Billions whispered prayers, scoffed at prophecies, or clung to the hope that the humans were bluffing. But Marcus Kane, staring into the void, knew the truth. The oracles hadn't lied. Humanity didn't bend fate by miracle. They bent it because they understood where to press, when to strike, and how to turn the arrogance of others into their own downfall. And soon, the galaxy would learn that lesson the hard way. The chamber of the galactic conclave was never meant for silence, yet silence ruled it now. Even the rustle of robes, the usual hum of whispered translations, had vanished. Every delegate, scaled, feathered, carapaced, or cloaked, fixed their eyes on the human envoy. Ambassador Marcus Hale adjusted his cufflinks as though he were preparing for a dinner party, not standing at the center of what could become galactic war. The faintest smile touched his lips. "I believe," he said calmly, "you've all misunderstood." The Valtheran warlord slammed a clawed fist onto the obsidian table, the crack echoing like a thunderclap. "You dare deny the oracles? They spoke of your kind bending fate itself. We thought them mad. But look, our fleets are undone, our plans scattered." Hale tilted his head politely, as though listening to a friend complain about the weather. Madness is a relative term, General. On Earth, we call it Monday morning traffic. A ripple of confusion passed through the aliens. The translator struggled, spitting out words that didn't quite make sense. Hail, let them stew. The Oracle's prophecy had been dismissed centuries ago, a human species that would bend fate. Nonsense, they said. Until humanity appeared, smiling, handshaking, laughing at jokes no one else understood. And every calculation, every prediction, every carefully laid alien scheme unraveled. The Drosari Empress leaned forward, her voice like silk over steel. You planned this, didn't you? The defeats, the retreats, the way you always appear weak until the killing strike. Hale clasped his hands behind his back. Planned is such a strong word. Let's say we prepared. You all assumed fate was a line written by your oracles. We saw it as a game board. And humans, well, we're very good at games. The council murmured, unease spreading. The Zoloti, reptilian and sharp-eyed, hissed. Then your fleet's waiting at the edges of our space. Not chance. Correct, Hale said pleasantly. Every so-called accident, every delay, every mistake, calculated. We let you surround us. We let you laugh at us. And while you were busy laughing, we built the trap. He let the words hang, his smile thin and patient. The Empress narrowed her eyes. Show it. Hale tapped a control. The chamber's holoscreen came alive. Not with fleets or ships, but with probability curves. Waves of red and blue arced across star charts, collapsing into inevitabilities. You believe the oracles predicted the future, Hale said. Humans predict outcomes. We map decisions, push events, nudge here, pressure there, until every choice you thought was free leads to the outcome we wanted all along. The Valtheran growled. Fate bending. Exactly, Hale said softly. Not by magic. Not prophecy. By calculation. By patience. By understanding how to make you dance to a tune you never heard. The chamber erupted in shouts. Some demanded explanations. Others accused humanity of witchcraft. A few simply stared in horrified silence. Hale waited, unbothered. When the noise subsided, he leaned forward, voice quiet but sharp as a blade. You thought we were harmless. Curious. Naive. You mistook humor for weakness. What you failed to see is that every joke was a mask. Every handshake, a measure. Every smile, a calculation. We let you believe the oracles were wrong, until it was too late. The Empress whispered, And what is it you want? For the first time, Hale's smile vanished. His voice lost all warmth. Stability. He stepped closer to the projection, the maps now glowing brighter. Whole empires circled in red. You war among yourselves, enslave smaller species, play at gods. We're done watching. The oracles warned you, but you laughed. Now humanity decides the next chapter. And here's the twist you didn't expect. The hollow shifted. A vast fleet shimmered into view, decloaking across half the galaxy. Thousands of ships, black-hulled and sharp-edged, engines burning like comets. The chamber fell utterly still. This fleet, Hale said quietly, has been in place for years. We seeded whispers, leaks, false intelligence to keep you blind. You thought we were scrambling to catch up. The truth. We were already here. The Valtheran's claws scraped the table. You threaten the entire conclave? Not threaten, Hale corrected gently. Offer. Submit to a new order, peace under human guidance, or continue fighting until the galaxy burns. The silence thickened. Some delegates trembled. Others glared. Finally, the Zoloti leaned forward. You'd risk total war? Hale's eyes were cold now. We don't risk. We calculate. And in every outcome that matters, we win. The words landed like stone. The Empress, ancient and shrewd, studied him. So this is your nature. The mask falls. Hale inclined his head politely. You finally see us. A hush settled over the chamber. The aliens realized the prophecy wasn't metaphor. Humanity didn't bend fate with sorcery. They bent it with strategy, psychology, and relentless patience. Hale checked his watch, as if the galaxy's destiny were just another scheduled appointment. Now then, shall we take a vote?